I was about to celebrate 3 years with Samantha. 3 amazing years. We had the perfect relationship, or at least I thought we did. I was even planning to propose next month. But last night, after returning from her business trip, Sam dropped a bombshell. She wanted an open relationship, just like that, as if suggesting we try a new restaurant. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Before I share what happened next, let me know where you are watching from in the comments, and hit that subscribe button so you do not miss more life lessons I learned the hard way. It all started at a house party thrown by our mutual friend Tyler. I was 29, working as a software engineer at a tech startup in Boston. The moment I saw Samantha across the crowded living room, something clicked. She was not just beautiful with her auburn hair and confident smile, she was magnetic. The way she commanded attention without seeking it, laughing with such genuine warmth that I could feel it across the room. Tyler introduced us, and we discovered we both loved obscure indie films and hiking in the White Mountains. We talked for hours that night, standing in the same corner, long after most guests had left. When I finally asked for her number, she smiled and said she had been waiting for me to ask all night. Our first date was at this tiny coffee shop tucked away on a quiet street. We planned to meet for an hour, but ended up talking until midnight. The barista had to politely kick us out at closing time. Sam worked in marketing for a health tech company. She was brilliant, passionate about her work, and had this ability to tell stories that made even mundane things fascinating. Over the next few months, our relationship deepened. We went on weekend trips to coastal towns in Maine, attended concerts of bands neither of us knew, but both ended up loving, and spent countless nights cooking elaborate meals in my tiny apartment kitchen. After a year, we decided to move in together. We found a cozy apartment in the city close to both our offices. Living together only made our bond stronger. We developed routines that felt like they had always been part of my life. Sunday morning pancakes, Wednesday night movies. Taking turns bringing each other coffee in bed. I kept thinking how lucky I was to have found someone who made everyday life feel so special. By our 3rd year together, I knew without doubt that Sam was the one I wanted to spend my life with. I had been saving for months and finally bought an engagement ring. Nothing flashy, but elegant and unique, just like her. I planned to propose at the lookout point on our favorite hiking trail, where we had our first kiss. When I told my best friend Jack about my plans, he seemed happy for me but hesitant. Over beers one night, he cautiously brought up some changes he had noticed in Sam recently. "Have you noticed anything different about Sam lately?" he asked, examining his beer bottle carefully. "What do you mean?" I replied, though I knew exactly what he meant. "I do not know, man. Last time we all hung out, she seemed distant, kept checking her phone. And Lauren mentioned she ran into Sam having lunch with some guy she had never seen before." I dismissed his concerns. "She has been busy with the new marketing campaign. Lots of meetings with different departments. I trust her completely." Jack nodded but did not look convinced. "I just want you to be sure before you pop the question." I appreciated his concern but felt confident in our relationship. What I did not tell Jack was that I had noticed some subtle changes too, but I had attributed them to work stress. It started when Sam went on a 2-week business trip to Chicago for a marketing conference. She was traveling with a new coworker named Brian, who had recently transferred from their New York office. During the trip, our communication became sporadic. Sam would go days responding only with brief texts, claiming she was swamped with workshops and networking events. When she returned, something felt off. She was physically present, but emotionally distant. She started texting late into the night, and when I asked who she was talking to, she would say, "Just work stuff," or catching up with friends. She began mentioning new experiences and exploring different perspectives in conversations. Her habits changed too. She joined a new gym and bought an entirely new wardrobe. She started going out more frequently with work friends I had never met. Several times I noticed her smiling at her phone, and when I would ask what was funny, she would just say nothing and put it away. Most concerning was how she began casually mentioning other couples she had met who had modern relationships. One night over dinner, she told me about her coworker who had an open marriage and how liberated and honest it seemed to her. "They just seem so much more evolved," she said. "No jealousy, no possessiveness. They can be fully themselves while still being committed to each other." I remember feeling uneasy but not alarmed. I never imagined what was coming next. For our 3-year anniversary, I planned a special dinner at home. I spent the afternoon cooking her favorite meal, chicken piccata with homemade pasta. I bought her favorite wine and set up our small dining table with candles and flowers. The engagement ring was hidden in my dresser drawer, not for tonight but soon. When Sam got home, she seemed distracted. She complimented the dinner setup but kept checking her phone. Throughout the meal, conversation felt forced. I tried bringing up fond memories from our relationship, but she would smile briefly before returning to a distant look. Just as I was serving dessert, Sam put down her fork and took a deep breath. "Noah, we need to talk about something important." My heart raced. Was she going to break up with me? Had she somehow discovered the engagement ring? I have been doing a lot of thinking about us, about relationships in general. She continued, not meeting my eyes. "I think we need something to revitalize our connection, to make it stronger and more authentic." I reached for her hand across the table. "I am always open to working on us." "What do you have in mind?" She finally looked up. "I think we should consider opening up our relationship." The words hung in the air between us. I must have looked confused because she quickly continued. "It is not about replacing what we have. It is about expanding it. We could see other people while still being each other's primary partners. It is actually very common now. Lots of couples are exploring this kind of arrangement." I sat back in my chair trying to process what she was saying. "Where is this coming from, Sam? Is there something wrong with our relationship that I do not know about?" "Nothing is wrong," she insisted. "This is not about fixing something broken. It is about growing together in a more authentic way, about not limiting each other." As she spoke, I noticed her voice had taken on an almost rehearsed quality, using phrases that did not sound like her. Words like relationship autonomy and ethical non-monogamy that she had never mentioned before. "Is this something you have been researching?" I asked, trying to understand. "Brian at work has been really enlightening to talk to. He and his previous partners practiced open relationships, and it just makes so much sense when he explains it. Love is not a finite resource, Noah. We can care for multiple people without diminishing what we have." The mention of Brian set off alarm bells. "So you have been discussing our relationship with Brian?" Sam became defensive. "We discuss lots of things. He has a very progressive outlook that I find refreshing." The conversation quickly escalated into an argument. When I asked if she was already interested in someone specific, she accused me of being possessive. When I expressed confusion about the sudden change, she called me old-fashioned and controlling. This is the future of relationships, Noah. Most people our age are moving beyond outdated monogamy. I thought you would be more open-minded. As Sam became more agitated, she went to the bathroom. While she was gone, her phone lit up on the table with a text message. I had never snooped on her before, but something compelled me to look. The preview showed a message from Brian. "Did you talk to him yet? Remember what we discussed in Chicago? Life is too short to." When Sam returned, I confronted her with what I had seen. At first, she was angry about me looking at her phone, but as I remained calm and asked direct questions, her defenses crumbled. "Fine. Yes, something happened with Brian during the trip. It was just one night after too many drinks at the conference after-party. It meant nothing." The truth felt like ice water in my veins. "So you cheated on me. And now, instead of taking responsibility, you want permission to continue. That is not fair," she protested, tears forming. "I made a mistake, but this could be good for us. An open relationship would mean we could be honest about our desires without having to hide anything. It could save us." In that moment, I saw everything clearly. The proposal plans our future. All of it crumbled before my eyes. I asked Sam to leave for the night to give me space to think. She resisted at first, but eventually agreed, heading to her friend Amanda's place. As she packed an overnight bag, I sat in our living room, feeling like my world had collapsed. That night was the longest of my life. I did not sleep. I just sat on our couch, replaying every moment of our relationship in my mind, looking for signs I might have missed. Had she always been capable of this kind of betrayal, and I had just been blind to it? The next morning, I called Jack and told him everything. His anger on my behalf was validating. "You deserve better than this, Noah. Someone who respects you and your relationship." "But 3 years," I said, my voice breaking. "We built a life together." "Think about it this way," Jack replied. "Better to find out now than after you proposed, or worse, after you were married." He was right, but that did not diminish the pain. I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped away something essential inside me. I questioned my judgment, my worth, my ability to recognize sincerity in others. Throughout that day, Sam called and texted constantly. Her messages ranged from defensive to apologetic. "You are overreacting. People make mistakes. I am so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. We can work through this if you would just talk to me. The thing with Brian was physical, not emotional. You are the one I love." Each message only made me feel worse. I responded only once, asking for space to process everything. She agreed, but continued texting anyway. A week passed. I took time off work, unable to focus. I stayed with Jack for a few days, then at a hotel. I could not bear to be in our apartment surrounded by reminders of what I thought we had. Then came the night that solidified my decision. I had finally returned to our apartment while Sam was supposed to be at Amanda's. Needing some normalcy, I went to our favorite Italian restaurant to pick up takeout. As I waited for my order, I saw them. Sam and Brian sitting in a corner booth looking intimate. Her hand was on his arm, and they were leaning close, talking intensely. Something inside me went very still. I walked directly to their table. Neither noticed me until I was standing right there. Sam looked up, shock spreading across her face. Brian seemed confused. "Is this your roommate?" The way he said it told me everything I needed to know. Sam had been lying to both of us. "Roommate," I repeated calmly. "I am her boyfriend of 3 years. Or at least I was." Brian's face darkened as he turned to Sam. "You told me you were single. That you had broken up months ago." Sam looked trapped between us, panic in her eyes. "I can explain," she started, but Brian was already standing up. "I do not need an explanation. I am not interested in being part of whatever game you are playing." He threw some cash on the table and walked out. In that public place with other diners now watching curiously, Sam began crying. "Please, Noah." "It is not what it looks like. It is exactly what it looks like," I said quietly. "You wanted an open relationship as cover for your cheating. When I did not agree, you decided to lie to both of us." No, I was confused. Brian was just helping me sort through my feelings about us. I just shook my head, collected my takeout order, which had just been called, and walked out despite her pleas for me to stay. That night I made my decision. The next day I retrieved the engagement ring from its hiding place. The small diamond caught the light, and I thought about the future I had imagined now transformed into something unrecognizable. I wrote Sam a long email expressing my feelings, my hurt, and my decision to end our relationship permanently. I was clear but not cruel. I explained that trust once broken this way could not be rebuilt, at least not for me. I texted her that I would pack her things and drop them at Amanda's apartment the following weekend. She called immediately, but I did not answer. I needed to do this cleanly, without being swayed by emotions or manipulation. Packing her belongings was like dismantling our life together piece by piece. Each item held memories. The sweater she wore on our trip to Vermont, the collection of coffee mugs from places we had visited together, books with her notes in the margins, photos of happier times. I packed it all carefully, respectfully, even as each object renewed my pain. When I dropped everything off at Amanda's, Sam was waiting. I handed the boxes to Amanda at the door and turned to leave without engaging. Sam followed me to the street, begging for 5 minutes to talk. I remained firm, telling her all communication should be through email regarding any remaining practical matters. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, but I knew it was necessary. The next month was a blur of practical changes. I found a new apartment across town and threw myself into work. My boss noticed my renewed focus and assigned me to lead an important new project. The distraction was welcome, giving my mind something to concentrate on besides the breakup. At Jack's insistence, I joined a running club. "Exercise releases endorphins," he said, "and you might meet new people." I was not interested in dating, but I needed to expand my social circle beyond friends who knew us as a couple. The running group met 3 times a week at dawn. There was something cleansing about pushing my body to its limits, as the sun rose surrounded by people who knew nothing of my personal drama. They just knew me as Noah, the software guy who was surprisingly fast for a beginner. In their company, I discovered parts of myself that had been dormant during my relationship with Sam. I reconnected with old college friends I had lost touch with. I took a weekend pottery class just because it was something I had always been curious about. I redecorated my new apartment, exactly as I wanted it without compromising on anything. Small freedoms, but they added up to a new sense of self. The hardest moments came at night, when the distractions fell away. Sometimes I would reach for my phone to share something with Sam before remembering. Sometimes I would dream of her, and wake up momentarily forgetting everything that had happened. But these moments became less frequent as weeks passed. 2 months after our breakup, Sam appeared at my office building with flowers and a small gift bag. I was returning from lunch when I saw her waiting in the lobby. My stomach dropped, but I kept my expression neutral as I approached. "Noah," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You look good." "What are you doing here, Sam?" I asked, aware of curious glances from coworkers passing by. I needed to see you, to talk to you properly. She held out the flowers. These are for you. I did not take them. I think I was clear about needing space. It has been 2 months, she said. I have changed. Brian and I are completely done. I realized what a terrible mistake I made. You are the only one I want. The earnestness in her voice might once have swayed me, but not anymore. I am sorry, but that does not change anything for me. My decision is final. She persisted, trying to give me the gift bag. Just look inside. It is the journal you gave me for our first anniversary. I wrote something for you. I gently refused. Please respect my boundaries, Sam. This is my workplace. She left eventually, but that was just the beginning. She started texting daily, sometimes multiple times a day. She sent emails with long explanations and apologies. She convinced mutual friends to speak to me on her behalf. Each time I responded politely but firmly that my decision was final. Then one night around 2 a.m, I was awakened by pounding on my apartment door. When I opened it, Sam stood there, clearly intoxicated, mascara running down her cheeks. I cannot live without you, she slurred. I will do anything. Anything to make it right. When I tried to calmly suggest she go home, she became more agitated. If you do not take me back, I might just hurt myself. Would you care then? That crossed a line. I called Amanda, who arrived 30 minutes later to take Sam home. Before closing my door, I looked Sam directly in the eyes. Do not contact me again. If you threaten to harm yourself, I will call emergency services. I am not responsible for your well-being anymore. The next day, I sent her a final email. I explained clearly that her behavior was unacceptable, and that I would block her number and email if it continued. I suggested she seek counseling to process the end of our relationship in a healthier way. It was direct, but not unkind. To my surprise, it worked. The constant contact stopped. Through mutual friends, I heard she had indeed started therapy. I felt relieved, but also proud of myself for maintaining boundaries despite the emotional pressure. 6 months after our breakup, I received an email from Sam asking if we could meet for coffee. Her message was different from previous ones, calm and respectful of my boundaries. After consideration, I agreed to meet at a neutral coffee shop, midway between our apartments. She looked different when I saw her, more like the Sam I had first met years ago. Centered, confident, but not aggressive. We ordered our drinks and sat at a table by the window. Thank you for agreeing to see me, she began. I wanted to apologize properly now that I have had time to understand what I did. I nodded, allowing her to continue. I betrayed your trust in the worst way possible. Instead of being honest, I tried to change the rules to accommodate my behavior. Then, when you rightfully ended things, I refused to respect your decision. I am truly sorry for all of it. Her apology seemed genuine. I could see she had done some difficult self-reflection. I appreciate that, Sam. I really do. She looked hopeful. Does that mean there might be a chance for us? I shook my head gently. No. I have forgiven you, but I cannot go back. Too much has changed. I have changed. She nodded, disappointment clear but controlled. I understand. I just needed to tell you how sorry I am face to face. We talked a little longer about our lives now, about the lessons we had learned. It was a conversation between two people who once meant everything to each other, but now were just acquaintances sharing a coffee. When we said goodbye, it felt like closing a book after reading the final page, complete. A year after the breakup, my life had transformed in ways I could not have imagined. The promotion I received led to exciting new responsibilities. The running club introduced me to a diverse group of friends who expanded my worldview. I even started dating again, casually at first, then more seriously with a woman I met through a work conference. What surprised me most was not just that I had survived the pain, but that I had genuinely grown from it. I learned to trust my instincts. I developed clearer boundaries. I discovered that self-respect was non-negotiable for me. Sometimes I look back and feel strangely grateful. Had Sam not revealed who she truly was, I might have proposed. We might have married. I might have spent years with someone capable of that level of deception. Instead, I was free to build a life aligned with my values. The most valuable lesson I learned is that while heartbreak feels like an ending, it is often a beginning disguised as loss. By choosing myself, by refusing to accept treatment that diminished me, I opened the door to a life more authentic and fulfilling than the one I had planned. I wonder if you have ever had to make a difficult decision that ultimately led to unexpected growth. Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life lessons. Your support means everything as we navigate these complex human experiences together. Remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what hurts you, even when that thing is dressed up as love. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the courage to choose yourself when it matters most.